The High Court has found that our government's role in the detention of innocent people in Nauru is lawful. Now, the consequence of that decision is that 267 incredibly vulnerable people, we're talking about 37 babies, 54 children, who are in Australia right now, many of them are going to Australian schools as we speak, face imminent removal to an incredibly harmful environment on Nauru. Now, the legality is one thing, but the morality is another.
Daniel, can we talk about the 267? The majority of them were moved to Nauru because of serious medical conditions that could not be treated there, and 33 of them are babies who were born in Australia?
37 of them are babies who were born in Australia, and it's a real cruel absurdity of Australian law that these children who have never set foot on a boat are treated as if they arrived on one. They were born here in Australian hospitals, but any day now they face being uprooted and condemned to a life in limbo on Nauru.
Did you expect to go better at the High Court? Obviously, when you take a case like this, you are hoping to win it. But what is your reaction to the High Court's decision? A majority decision, I understand. Yeah,
it was a split decision. The court found that the government's actions were authorised by a retrospective law that they passed after we commenced the case. So they shifted the goalposts, and as a result, these 267 very vulnerable people face removal to Nauru. But irrespective of what happened in court today, the Minister and the Prime Minister still have the power to do the decent thing and let these families stay.
But do you seriously think Peter Dutton is going to do that?
Well, I think if the Minister is unmoved by the plight of these 37 babies and these 54 children, then it's up to the Prime Minister to intervene. I mean, we're talking about 54 children who are in our schools right now. I spoke with one girl just the other day who's been going to school in Melbourne and speaks with great pride about the friends that she's made and the performance she gave at the school assembly. Now, it would be tremendously cruel to rip these kids from their classrooms and condemn them to a life in limbo on Nauru.
Can we talk about conditions in Nauru? I know you have to go, but I want to look at some of the accusations coming out of there. Medical advice to be considered in the case of a 5-year-old allegedly raped on Nauru, a Somali woman claiming she was raped and impregnated during the rape. Talk of all sorts of deprivation. What is it like on Nauru?
Well, look, every one of these people has a horrific story to tell about their time on Nauru. Every one of these people breaks down at the prospect of being sent back there. And it's not just what these 267 people are saying. It's also what every medical practitioner who's got the courage to speak out is saying about conditions on Nauru. It's also what the United Nations is saying about conditions on Nauru. There can be no argument that it is a tremendously harmful place to warehouse innocent people. It's clear that returning these people there would cause them a great deal of suffering.
What now, Daniel, for you at the Human Rights Law Centre?
Well, our hope is that the Prime Minister or the Immigration Minister does the decent thing and agrees not to send these people back. I mean, irrespective of what the High Court decided today, it's the stroke of a pen. That's all it would take for the Prime Minister or the Immigration Minister to allow these kids to continue to go to school. It's up to them, really. This time next week, these children could be languishing on a tiny island in the middle of the ocean, or they could be spending time with the friends that they've made over the last year. The ball is really in their court. Our hope is they do the decent thing.